Collaborate's not working, so I'm going to record it using the Camtasia. Let's take a moment here for the syllabus. Your site considerations assignment, you should have turned that in by Friday. So if you have any questions about that, you need to catch me during lab so you can get that going, get that turned in. Your floor plan layout is what we're going to do next. And to begin the project for architectural design, we're going to work through this next phase, which is floor planning. And then we move into electrical and plumbing and roof planning, so forth. There'll be some other layouts that we'll do. We're going to use the 1813 in your book. Essentially, it's a vacation home, kind of a one-room deal. Your challenge is to figure out what kind of wall you want to make it out of. After you do this preliminary, then you'll need to get into the real decision-making part of it. Right now, creating this preliminary is essentially used to give the customer, the client, an idea. This is something of what, based on information we've received from you so far, this is what we think the building will look like. Then you're going to go into a mode after this of changing. Okay? You'll need to figure out what it's going to be covered with, that all the dimensions, you got to start figuring out the dimensions for the bathrooms, that everything's to code. You're going to have to look up and specify windows and doors, and start a running list of materials. So you'll need to create a spreadsheet, if you will. That'll be your running list of items that you're going to include in the structure. It has wood stairs in the front, deck, also in the back. So as you look at it in your book, you can see that it's built up off the ground. Right? So if it's in this climate here, unless it's down in the deep south, and then any more, you have to kind of be careful that you guard for it. You're going to have to protect your plumbing. So your plumbing can't just be coming up out of the ground in open airspace and then going up in the house. So you're going to need to enclose it somehow. This structure here in the book, it looks like it's maybe a post and beam construction, and therefore you have big, wide open, clear spans underneath. So you haven't had construction techniques, and you're taking commercial detailing. We covered a little bit in there. But construction techniques, we cover in more detail the spanning, the working with the joist tables, and so forth. But I can help you with that just a little bit later in the course. So probably not a totally open design for the crawl space or underneath the house or structure. So it's two-story. You have to line up your second floor plan, has to fit over the top of your first floor, of course, and the walls have to match. You have to work out spacing for your kitchen and everything, but that'll be on your detailed floor plan. So your first assignment here, that's due not this Friday but next Friday, is to get this laid out in general the same way it's laid out. You'll be able to modify and change it all when you start on your detailed floor plan. So it has 2 dimensions on it, and the purpose of this, once again, is just to give the client an idea, and so you have some kind of rendering up here. Well, so you're going to create a presentation drawing that would be on a 11 by 17 sheet. When you're finished, it'll look something like this. Okay, only it'll have, should have some dimensions on it. Okay, this one just used area dimensions. So we need to be sure and include overall dimension like you see here. So a lot of guesstimating when you first start out here creating this, and it'll be, big thick lines. Use your polyline or multi-line command, but probably polyline is going to work the best. But basically, create this layout, and this one has door symbols on it. Yeah, some door symbols. A lot of times those are optional on a presentation floor plan. We just show where a door is a lot of times. But include, I think door symbols are good to put on there. And you create labels like that. The picture, I'll place it on your desktop or email it to you, this picture. And what you do is, let's see, look at model space. Yeah, it's actually over there in paper space. So it's actually a raster image where I scanned the book, the picture of the book, put it in there, and use the insert. Once I give you the image, you'll want to put it in your work folder, whatever folder you're using. If you're using your jump drive for your work folder, do that, and place it in, place this picture I'm going to give you in that folder wherever this file is being created. You can attach. And let's see. And my menu bar is turned off, so I kind of like using my menu bar. Because it has the insert raster. So let me turn that on. Not sure why that's turned off. So insert and raster image. Okay. Little tip's not lighting up for it. So any type of image file can be inserted, and you pick the image you want to insert, place it in there. And then you'll want to insert it as, let me retract that operation. We want it to be a part of the drawing. So here's a little problem with AutoCAD. Just brain cells just reconnected up there. If you do an insert raster image, it's a reference. Okay, so that will work and that'll be fine. But if you turn your drawing in to me, or you hand it off to somebody, if you do not have that raster image right along with it in a folder, then it won't display if it's not right along with it, next to it. Okay? So what we'll have to do is I will give you this picture as part of a large Word document, and then you'll copy and paste. Okay, right click C, or I'm sorry, Control C to copy the image, and then Control V to paste it into your drawing paper space. When you do that, it becomes part of the drawing's paper space, and it's part of it. It's not referencing it somewhere. So then there are, let me just verify what I just said, check the properties on it. Yes, it's an Olay, and you don't see anything about reference or pathway or anything like that. Okay. Then one other command you need to make note of: you can leave the frame on or you can turn the frame off, and it's just Olay. It's object linked embedded. Okay, Olay is OLE. So Olay, OLE frame. And if you have it set to 2, it'll be turned on and I think selectable. If you set it to 0, regenerate, with a RE, enter, then the frame goes away. Looks kind of nice, but you might want a frame around it. That'd be fine too if you want to do that. So I'll pass that along to you here in just a little bit, so that'll be available to you. Okay, and you'll call it vacation home, and the scale of it is not to scale. We don't really want anybody scaling it. We don't really, it is going to be some kind of viewport scale. This object is, a viewport. That is not, that's turned off. So, yeah. So the viewport layer, got some extras here. So that's actually on the viewport layer. And you can, add a border, something like that would be fine, but that's just because it's on the viewport layer. It's not a viewport. This should be the viewport right there. It is. I kind of like that border being on there, but this person didn't do it that way. All right. Any questions about anything?
What size template? C size?
B.
B size?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, B size sheet of paper. You don't have to print it out. When you get ready, to turn it in, I'll add these instructions to the assignment on Blackboard. But you can print this to a PDF. It's called DWG to PDF. Just be sure and change your sheet size and everything. So that's in your page setup manager. Yeah, and just modify. I think you all have done this. There we go. So it's called DWG to PDF. And once you modify it, it'll ask you to save it if you want to save it as a PC3. So it's set up to 11 by 17 already, so you just go find that. You will plot the layout, which is the entire piece of paper, 11 by 17. You would use the CAD STB. If for some reason your computer is set up to do CTB as a default, that this right here may not show up. So you'll need to, you can use one of the existing templates for 11 by 17, but you'll be modifying it quite a bit. So it's either that or start from scratch, set it up. Then you've got to copy in layers and different things to make it work. So you've got to pay attention to all those items. Okay, and then once you've got that set up, you'll notice that you end up with, when you're plotting to a PDF and using layout, it goes really basically all the way to the edge. So probably some kind of really neat looking border would work good on this, I think. I think it needs some kind of border. Sometimes you can set, for artsy looking display, you can maybe create a partial border on 2 corners or at all 4 corners, kind of overlapping lines, crossed at the corners, and that kind of gives it a little style and snazz. Okay, then when you're ready to plot, here's a plot preview of it, and it was created on an Autodesk product. Let's see, it's probably going to show that border because I set it to 0. I think maybe you have to set it to 1 so it doesn't display or plot. Okay, then when you plot it using DWG to PDF, it'll prompt you with a name. You go ahead and choose the folder location and name. Then it should pop up, and when you plot something to a PDF, it brings all the layers with it. It's kind of cool. So you can turn off and on layers. Can't do much else if you just got the Adobe Reader. So it looked like it was going to show the border, so I was wrong about that. There is a setting, though, that controls whether it plots or not. So should have this finished up in a couple of weeks and then be started on your detailed floor plan. And so next Monday, I'll be going over the detailed floor plan and all the items we need to consider in there. List of tasks that you need to do. Let's see. Here I am. So, in your syllabus, there's a short list. Determine wall components, space for rooms, outside stairs and decks. You have to design those. You have to design the inside stairs. You have to collect vendor specs on heating and cooling. How you're going to do that? Or you're going to have some heating. You're going to definitely have that because we're going to consider that this is being built in Kentucky. Okay? So, and then you need the system specifications. If you're at least going to have heating, then what kind of heater are you using? You're going to use that wood burning stove that's in there, or you're going to have radiant floor heat, or you're going to use forced air, gas, or electric. But you have to have some kind of heating to keep it from freezing up. It's either that, or if you're not going to use it in the winter, then you have to have a way to drain the water out of the plumbing completely. So it's all the way out to the well. Or if it's in a semi-improved vacation lake area, it might have, water supplied. Or, I kind of like you to plan on that. The next best thing would be you would haul water. You'd have water hauled in, and you'd have a tank that stores the water and a pump. That's getting real, talking about a maintenance problem there. And you definitely either got to have a heater on it, or you're going to have to bury the tank so it doesn't freeze. You're going to have to look up specifications for windows, size, type, style, all that. Specifications for plumbing fixtures, cabinets that you're going to use. Some of that you can get, Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's site. You can pick from there. Siding or not. You're going to build it out of brick. What kind of siding are you going to use? Then your roofing material that you want to use: metal, asphalt, fiberglass, something else too. Oh, terracotta. Of course, specifications for the appliances, wood stove if you're going to use that, ceiling fan, what type, lighted or not, how it's controlled, real fancy remote control, or wired into the wall. Maybe you want solar panels, maybe you want skylights. So it's a little open-ended after you get your presentation drawing done from just what it is in the book. Then we start working on our floor plan, working out all these design parameters. And you'll spend quite a bit of time. You kind of have to jump in there and figure out your HVAC, what you're going to do. It's heating, ventilation, air conditioning. What you're going to do for it. Then you have to figure out well, is this going to fit here? What kind of space do I need? You know, where am I going to put my water heater? What I need for that. If you're going to go with instant water heat, and that's a special way that it hooks up to the house. We'll assume we have full electrical power available for our site. But you'll spend quite a bit of time designing your stairs. Okay? Because you've got outside stairs and inside stairs. So you have to jump into the chapter on that and on stairs, find that, reference that in the book, how to design the stairs. You know, you'll do a layout somewhere else on your drawing so you can figure out how they're going to fit, how long a run it's going to take to make a good standard stairs. You know, once you get all these parameters going, you'll find what you need as far as space, and if you need to push a wall out and make it bigger, or you might find you can save some space and make some area smaller. We'll try to keep it about the same size. Okay. Any questions for me now?
Probably will later on.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. And, you know, have a little fun with it. Okay? Kind of put yourself in. If you want to use somebody you know, that say you're building it for them, and let them argue with them. Or, kind of let them choose how they would like it to look, or you're going to keep the same plan, same kind of arrangement of rooms, but all these other things are completely up to the client. Because we're going to pretend that we've already worked through. Well, I've got X amount of money. Here's the space. This is what works for a little vacation home. And so how would you like it to look? How you want to heat and cool it? What kind of appliances you want in it? Then the bathroom, is minimal, but we're going to have to come up with a standard arrangement. What's on the little preliminary might sort of work, okay? But we do need to pay attention to ADA kind of spacing and so forth, This concludes the lecture discussion over presentation drawings. Please feel free to email me or contact me. Let me know your questions. Remember, the drawings are due a week from this Friday, which would be September the 20th.